Empire State. History of New York. New York, known as the Empire State, is one of the most lived-in and culturally significant states in the American Union. Its history dates back to the era of the 13 colonies and holds a narrative worth exploring. The Indigenous Era. Early inhabitants. Indigenous tribes were the first known inhabitants of the region, dating back to 10,000 BC. Tribes such as the Iroquois and Algonquians called the area home, with the Iroquois forming the powerful Iroquoian Confederacy. These communities thrived through advanced systems of farming, economy, and culture. European exploration, early encounters. Giovanni da Verrazzano, 1524. An Italian explorer under French employment, he explored the New York harbor but did not establish a settlement. Jacques Cartier, 1535, a French explorer with a similar outcome to Verrazzano. Henry Hudson, 1609. Employed by the Dutch East India Company, he explored the area with an intent to establish colonies. The Dutch settlement, 1614. The Dutch built Fort Nassau near Albany as a fur trading post, marking the first European settlement. 1624. The establishment of New Amsterdam, modern-day New York City, as part of the Dutch colony, New Netherlands. Transition to English control. Anglo-Dutch conflicts. In the mid-17th century, during the Second Anglo-Dutch War, the English captured New Netherlands and renamed it New York. The city briefly reverted to Dutch control as New Orange during the Third Anglo-Dutch War, but was permanently claimed by the English in 1674. Growth of New York colony. Population boom. Population increased from 8,000 residents under Dutch rule to 168,000 by the mid-18th century. Immigrants from Europe sought refuge and opportunities in the New World. Economic development. Agriculture, trade, and merchant activity flourished, establishing New York as a hub of economic success. Conflict and independence. French and Indian War. The war, 1754-1763, involved indigenous alliances with both the French and British, culminating in British control of French territories in New York. The American Revolution. New York was pivotal in the fight for independence, hosting nearly one-third of all battles during the war. Despite British occupation of New York City, the state endorsed the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Post-independence contributions. Nation building. New York City served briefly as the U.S. capital. The state's 1777 Constitution inspired the federal Constitution. Notable events. Bill of Rights drafting, George Washington's inauguration, founding of the New York Stock Exchange. 19th century developments, economic and industrial growth. The Erie Canal boosted trade and transportation. Steamboats and railroads made New York a travel hub. Civil War era. New York supplied the most manpower for the Union but saw no battles on its soil. 1863 draft riots. Violent protests, particularly by Irish immigrants, highlighted racial and class tensions. Immigration and diversity. Influx of immigrants from Germany, Italy, Ireland, and Eastern Europe, alongside Chinese immigrants. By the early 20th century, the state's population exceeded 7 million, making it a melting pot of cultures. The 20th and 21st centuries. New York witnessed major historical events, from the World Wars to the Great Depression. The state emerged as a global financial, cultural, and tourist hub. Conclusion. A legacy of growth and influence. New York's history is inseparable from that of the United States. Its journey from indigenous lands to a modern metropolis reflects resilience, diversity, and progress. Today, it stands as a beacon of cultural and historical significance in America.